In this video, we're going to talk about 4 tips for acting with integrity. And make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video, where I'll talk about one simple test that you can use anywhere to quickly tell you whether or not you're acting with integrity. The first tip is to be honest with people. This is probably the most obvious, but it's a bit more complicated than just always telling the truth. You also want to avoid cheating, and you want to take responsibility for the things that you do wrong. So you don't let other people take the blame if you've done something wrong. You admit when you do things wrong, you apologize for them, and you make sure to give credit to other people when they're the ones that deserve it. The second tip is to keep your promises. Make sure that you always do what you say you're going to do. And if for any reason you just absolutely can't make that meeting that you're supposed to go to tomorrow, you let them know as early as possible, and you let them know when you can make it up later. You want to be a person of your word. You want to make sure that when you say something, people actually know it's true, both because you're honest and you always keep your promises. And part of this is not gossiping. Gossiping is essentially the equivalent of violating the promise of keeping someone's trust. When someone tells you a secret, you don't gossip about it because you promised them you wouldn't tell anyone. And even if you didn't use the words, "I promise that," when someone chooses to trust you with their personal details and you then tell other people about it, you really are violating their trust, and that is not something that people with integrity do. The third tip is to treat people with respect at all times, even if they don't do the same thing back. I know it's very popular for people to say, well, I'll treat you just as well as you treat me. If you're disrespectful to me, I'm disrespectful to you. But if you really want to have a life of integrity, you want to behave in such a way that you respect yourself. Don't let other people's bad behavior drag you down. If someone else does something horrible and you start doing the same horrible thing, you've allowed that person's toxic behavior to turn you into a toxic person. Part of integrity is having your own respect. You want to behave like a person that you would respect. So make sure you treat people the way you see yourself treating people. You want to treat people well because you want to have respect for the kind of person you are. So respect people, even if they don't deserve it, even if they're behaving in such ways that you do not approve of. If you need to, you can cut people out of your life. You're not obligated to keep them around forever, but treat them with the respect that all human beings deserve so that you can respect the person that you're being. The fourth tip is to do what's right even when no one's watching. You want to do what's right even when it's tough and even when you will get absolutely no credit for it. Once again, this goes back to what I was just talking about. You want to earn your own self-respect. You want to behave in such a way that you respect the person that you are. Even if no one else sees it, you see it. You know how you're behaving, and you know whether you're behaving as a person with integrity or not. So behave in such a way that you always respect the things that you do. This is actually one of the biggest tips for life and something that I use all the time. If you would not be okay telling everyone what you just did, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you do not respect your own behavior enough that you're embarrassed to have other people know that it happened, that's a sign for you to know that what you're doing is not something that you actually like or something that you actually approve of. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that there was a simple test that you could do to find out whether you're acting in integrity, and that is simply to imagine yourself in front of a mirror and say, do I respect the person that I am when I behave like this? To put it another way, here's a simple thing that I've been doing for years. Imagine that you're about to do something and you're trying to decide if this is something that you're okay with doing. Say to yourself, if everyone were to know that I was about to do this, if everyone that I know, if everyone in the world were to be announced that this thing just happened, would I be okay with that? Am I ashamed of this behavior? Am I not okay with people knowing about it? Or is it totally fine? Because if it's not totally fine, one of two things are true. Either it's behavior that you do not want to be associated with because you do not respect it, in which case you shouldn't do it, or you have a shame problem. A problem where you have a tendency to be ashamed of things even that you shouldn't be, and that's something that you can work on separately. Because you have a choice here. Either don't do the behavior, or learn not to be ashamed of that behavior. And you can always pick which one of those two things you want to do, but as a general rule of thumb, when you're trying to act with integrity, there's a good chance that this thing that you're about to do that you don't want to be associated with isn't really something that involves integrity. It's not something that you want to be associated with. It's not something that would cause you to respect the person in the mirror. So just imagine looking at yourself in the mirror and say, will I respect myself for doing this? And if the answer is no, just don't do it. You can avoid all kinds of bad behavior and stay in integrity much more easily when you use this tip. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment about how you're going to use this to help your own life.